Hi, I'm Mark Tyrrell of Uncommon Knowledge and hypnosisdownloads.com, and welcome to How to Deal with Sexual Performance Anxiety, 5 tips to enhance your sexual confidence. I remember the words of a client, and he said, "This is going to sound crazy, but having sex feels like it used to when I'd lose my nerve on the rifle range." And he said, "My dad would put me under so much pressure and I'd crack. It's the same emotion now when I think about my sexual performance." And the client, Dean, looked really stressed out. But before we start, I don't want to get all Freudian about shooting, pulling the trigger and all that kind of stuff. But Dean, the client, did look really stressed out. Performance anxiety, whether it's on the rifle range when you're 15 or in the bedroom when you're 25, feels the same. It doesn't matter what the anxiety is about. So Dean's experience wasn't crazy, as he put it, at all. Worrying about outcome blocks performance. And sexual performance anxiety is no different. This happens in any sphere of life. Sex needs to be, of course, relaxed, spontaneous, and fun. A chance to deepen intimacy and be absorbed only in the immediate. But instead, many men feel it's a test of their manhood somehow, that tests can be passed or failed, and that's the problem when you view it as a test. Sex isn't just about performance, of course. It's not just about meeting standards or deadlines. You know, there's a pervading sense that to be a real man, think email spam, guys have to be constantly and reliably ready for a supercharged, mind-blowing, supercalifragilistic sexual performance. You know, men are more likely to see sex in terms of doing it well and statistics and results, and women are more likely to feel sex is about forging closeness in a relationship and togetherness and intimacy. Okay. Sexual performance anxiety rears its head at some time during most men's sex lives. It can cause avoidance of sex altogether. You know, not tonight, I've got a headache, as well as damaging self-esteem and confidence in non-sexual parts of life. So Dean's sexual performance anxiety had developed pretty recently. And he said, "I've been having a tough time in my life, working late, money problems, and my dad got ill." Okay, so he had lots of worries. And he said, "I guess my confidence has been a bit low generally. I've never had a problem before with sex, but I can't stop thinking about my performance or whether I'll even be able to." Sexual desire is supposed to drop during times of stress. If a lion is on the prowl, sexual excitement needs to vanish completely so you can focus on your survival. Stress is supposed to drop sexual desire. With this in mind, let's look at the first tip. So number 1, life health check. What's going on outside the bedroom? If you feel anxious and stressed generally in your life, then this can easily filter into your sex life. Stress can come in the guise of too much alcohol, coffee, or tobacco, which all place stress on your body, as well as you working too hard or never taking time out to relax. If your day is full of stuff that you just have to get done as best you can and tick off your to-do list, it can be hard to change focus enough to just go with the flow and enjoy sex. Lovemaking can feel like the final to-do at the end of a long day of chores. Take steps to erase as many stresses as possible, or at least the way you deal with them. Start to relax regularly, exercise, and take time out for non-competitive fun. Dean decided that there were certain changes he needed to make in his life to zap stress and ramp up relaxation. He conceded his life was full of tick lists and work-related performance reviews, and he unconsciously started to treat his lovemaking the same way. Step 2, simply extract the anxiety from sexual performance. Dean was seeing sex as something he had to do well. I asked him to think of something he did that he enjoyed, which felt easy and totally unpressured. Eventually, he told me that sometimes, late at night, he would play guitar just because, as he put it. I asked him to close his eyes and get a sense of feeling in flow playing his guitar. I suggested that every activity needs some time of warming up. And this applies to sex too, of course. that it probably took him a few minutes to get into playing a guitar. Okay. He started to smile as he conjured up the feeling of just enjoying his guitar times, being relaxed and in the moment and just spontaneous. I then asked him to keep that relaxed in-flow feeling, but start to transfer it in his mind to making love with his partner, just because. He found this incredibly useful and reported later that he felt this had made a huge difference to the way he felt during sex, like a rediscovery, as he put it. Step 3, you know it's a mind thing. Here's how to use your mind. It's truly been said that the biggest sexual organ is the brain, and it's wrong to think sex is just physical. Attitudes and the way your mind is focused have a huge impact on your sexual experience. Your levels of arousal need to be just right. Sometimes sexual excitement and arousal can spill over into anxiety, a not totally dissimilar type of arousal. So you need to just the right level of excitement blended with a confident sense of let's relax and see what happens. You also need to focus on the person that you're with, not just yourself, to encourage those wonderful moments in which you feel totally connected. Times when there's no longer you and me, but us as one. And sorry to sound like a chakra-ridden tree hugger, but these moments do happen during the best kinds of sex. Actually, when you drift into this altered state of the zone, all thoughts of performance vanish. There's only now this moment, and the self's forgotten as you blend totally with what you're doing and who you're with. Future and past sort of disappear, which means that so too does anxiety about what might or might not happen. Forget about the mechanics of sex, whether you'll last or get and sustain an erection. Some guys I've worked with have even secretly timed themselves to try and up their game, lasting longer. Call me old-fashioned, but stopwatches are lovemaking. Wonderful sex is like great art or poetry in that it can't be graded like a school maths project. A poem might be short and simple, but someone, without really knowing why, just loves it. It just works. Your partner may really love a particular time with you just because. Stop trying too hard and let what happens happen. Step 4, stop being responsible. So let me rephrase that when it comes to sex. Be responsible as far as safe sex goes, but if you don't feel like sex, it's not your fault. So you shouldn't feel responsible. It's not no one's fault at all. Sexual responsiveness is governed by the unconscious part of the mind. So the conscious you can relax about it. If my pupils dilate or my stomach gurgles, I didn't consciously decide to do these things. Another part of me controls these autonomic responses. I don't have to feel anything about them at all. So I don't feel too responsible for these processes. And it's exactly the same with sexual responsiveness. It's not completely under your control, so you can relax about it. And of course, the more you relax about it, the easier and more natural it's going to feel. So as an exercise, after you've listened to this, you can close your eyes and imagine feeling relaxed and happy, unhurried but excited by the prospect of making love. Do this for 3 or 4 times a day and notice the difference. Step 5, enjoy each other. Avoiding sex tends to increase sexual performance anxiety because avoidance fools your mind into feeling greater fear of whatever it is that you're avoiding. But there are many physical pleasures to enjoy with your partner, such as caressing, holding and cuddling. Sex is a part, but by no means all, of a wider physical relationship that you have with your lover. Many women report loving the affection and closeness of hugging and holding, whilst naked as much as sometimes even more than the act of sex itself. So focus on these aspects of your physical relationship and let sex be a byproduct of that. So Dean started to think about sex differently. It's no longer something that I feel I have to do, he told me. Now if it happens, it happens. Sex isn't an Olympic sport, it's a way of communicating. Sexual performance anxiety stops when you stop seeing sex as a performance. Take time to enjoy the moment and just see what happens. So I hope you found that useful in some way, and if you did, please hit like and subscribe. And if you want to hear when my next video is published, hit the notification bell below. I'm Mark Tyrrell of Uncommon Knowledge and hypnosisdownloads.com, and if you'd like to try some of my personal development products, including some sexual ones, head over to hypnosisdownloads.com and take a look around. And thanks for watching.